In Lesson 4.5's example, does media use relate to good grades? We're going to look at tree diagrams. The Kaiser Family Foundation recently released a study about the influence of media in the lives of young people aged 8 to 18. In the study, 17% of the youth were classified as light media users, 62% were classified as moderate media users, and 21% were classified as heavy media users. Of the lightweight users who responded, 74% described their grades as good, A's and B's. Only 68% of the moderate users and 52% of the heavy users described their grades as good. Suppose we select one young person at random. What we're asked to do in part A is draw a tree diagram. So tree diagrams are helpful when we have a sequence of events, and in this case from the Kaiser Family Foundation we do. We have how much media use these the students in the study, or the young people in the study I should say, how they classified their media use, and then how they classified their grades. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with these young people and we're going to split them up based off their light use, moderate use, or heavy use of the media. Once we have that, we can fill in the probabilities. We had 17% of the youth were classified as light media users, 62% were classified as moderate, and 21% were classified as heavy media users. After this, it says of the light users who responded. So now I'm only going to look at this light user branch, and off of this I'm going to branch off to say who thinks their grades are good. And 74% think their grades are good, meaning the rest, 26%, think their grades are not good or bad. While 68% of the moderate users, okay, so now I'm looking only at the moderate users, so I have from there 68% classified their grades as good, and 32% of the moderate users classify theirs as bad. And for the heavy users, we have 52% classify their grades as good, and meaning 48% then classify their grades as bad. So again, you want to think of what comes first. We have their media use first, and then after that we have, do they classify their grades as good or bad? In part B, find the probability that this person describes his or her grades as good. Now we selected one person. So how can we get good grades? I see good come up 3 times here. Well, we can be a light user and get good grades, or this person can be a moderate user and get good grades, or this person can be a heavy user and get good grades. So what we're going to use here is what in the reading you saw was the general multiplication rule, and I'm going to multiply being a light user by being a light user given, or excuse me, being a getting good grades given I'm a light user. And I'm going to do that for each. So light user times the probability of getting good grades given I'm a light user, moderate user times the probability I get good grades given I'm a moderate user, heavy user given that, and getting good grades given that I'm a heavy user. So when I multiply those probabilities using the general multiplication rule, and then I'm going to add them together to get the final probability of 0.6566. Make sure when you're working with tree diagrams, if they ask you for something like grades as good, you look at all possible ways that this person can get good grades. And in our case, it was they could be a light user, a moderate user, or a heavy user and still get the good grades. If you'd like more practice with tree diagrams, try exercise 5 at the end of this section.